there, and welcome to my channel, Eclectic Intuition with Elise. That is me. Today is Tarot Tuesday, and you know what that means. That means I have 3 piles here for you to choose from, and this week's reading theme is self-care. And I'm not talking about hashtag self-care or this kind of trendy commodity self-care has become, which is, I still love that kind of self-care, the kind where you treat yourself and indulge. But the self-care I'm talking about is the nitty-gritty stuff. The stuff that is hard, the dark side of self-care, the side of self-care that really requires dedication and commitment, such as when you first start going to the gym or when you first cut something out that is toxic for you, but there's still that addictive quality to it. That's the kind of self-care I'm talking about. And the 3 crystals I have here for you to choose from are Nuumite, which is a stabilizing and grounding stone. It cleans out the space around you. We have Amazonite, which is empowering and soothing. So this is just like, I love the energy of this crystal. It kind of reminds me of like ocean blue, like that tropical ocean color. And then we have Dolomite here, which is known to alleviate negative emotions, promote self-love, as well as moderation, which we all kind of need when we're thinking about self-care. So take a moment now, maybe brew yourself a cup of tea, meditate, and then when you're ready, pick a pile and we'll move on with our reading. We're going to start with Nuumite, followed by Amazonite, finally followed by Dolomite. So grab yourself a cup of tea and let's get started. All right, my Nuumite folks, let's get started with your reading. And I used 3 decks today, the Rider-Waite Centennial deck and the Neo Tarot deck, as well as the Moon deck, which is a Oracle deck. So it's a little more straightforward message, but I like to mix it up a little bit for you. So our first card here is the 6 of Swords. And with swords, we're dealing with the element of air and often how we communicate and how we think. In the image in this card, you can see there's 2 people. It looks like a woman and a child, and a man is steering the boat. And if you pay really close attention and dig into the details here, you can see there's really rough waters behind them and really smooth waters in front of them. So to me, this is getting away from something that's no longer serving you. And because we're dealing with the element of air and swords here, communication might be self-speak, or perhaps someone communicates to you in a way that brings about chaos and ugliness instead of positivity and helpfulness. Our second card here is the Lover's card from our Neo Tarot deck. So cool. I love this deck so much. The Lovers generally represent union, romance, companionship. In this case, because we're dealing with the Swords card, and this card is the second card I pulled for you, I would say moving away from for me, it's like there's negative self-speak, you're not communicating well with yourself, and you need to bring yourself to someone who will kind of offset the negativity in your brain. The person who brings you love, who makes you feel like you have true companionship and trust and honesty. And this doesn't necessarily mean a romantic person. It could be your spouse or your best friend or your mom or your sister. But you know who that is. It's the soulmate person, the person you go to when things are rough. And because you're leaving something behind, which is great, you're working towards self-care, you're letting go of something that's not working for you, you might need the support of people you love. And there's one person in particular, and it's the first person you thought of intuitively. That's the person you go to right now to really help you enforce these self-care regimen things, okay? And then the last card here we have from the Moon deck, I forgive and let go with loving ease. So when you look at all 3 of these cards together, what I'm getting is you need to forgive yourself And forgiving yourself means allowing the possibility of mistakes being made, and monitoring the self-critique, and also working towards a positive mindset. And that's so much easier said than done, right? But that's where the Lover's card comes in. That's where your support system comes in. They will help you get through this. They want you to be committed to letting go of those toxic thoughts. And that's the kind of self-care that you need to work on right now. It's how you communicate with yourself, how you communicate with others. And I hate to say it because it's kind of cheesy and it's my go-to quote, but energy goes where intention flows, or energy flows where intention goes. There you go. If your thoughts are constantly, I'm not good enough, or I could have done better, or I'm ugly, or useless, or not worthy, let me just go through my Rolodex of negative thoughts I've had in my life, right? If that's where your mind is at, you'll stay there. It's the truth. So when you forgive and let go with loving ease, like this card says, when you forgive and let go with loving ease, you're allowing yourself healing. There's so much about guilt that is toxic, because at first it's good to feel guilty if you've done something wrong, right? It's kind of a deterrent to repeat that mistake or to not hurt that person or yourself again. But when there's a cycle of, I think this way about myself, I hate myself for thinking this way, I feel guilty for thinking this way, and it's just whoop, 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 in a circle. Here we go, round and round. It's just a cycle of self-torture. And when we're talking about self-care for you right now, it's really working on stopping that cyclone of emotions, those cyclone of thoughts that just keep dragging you down. You are enough. You have people who love you. And now it's time to forgive and let go and love that process of letting go, which is really challenging, because if you've held on to guilt for a long enough time, it becomes a friend. And I don't want guilt to be your friend. I want your actual, partner, your friend, your confidant to be the support system you need. I don't want these toxic thoughts to be your norm anymore. And I think you're ready to let that go as well. And that's why you chose this particular deck, or this particular pile, I should say. So moving forward, when you catch yourself with those negative thoughts or kind of sinking into those negative patterns, remember that you've forgiven yourself and that you can let it go. Let the thought come into your brain and try your hardest to just release it back into the universe without any intention. Like, not for me. In one ear, out the other. Okay? It's easier said than done. I know this, but I know that's what you're working for. And this is just a validation for you here. This is just the universe saying you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. Alrighty? Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's move on to our next pile. Alright, our next pile is the Amazonite pile. And let's see what cards we have for you here. All right, so I'm using 3 different decks for our reading today. Our first card here is from the Centennial edition of the Waite Smith deck. It's a very traditional deck. It just has muted colors. It's really pretty and soft. And the first card we have here is 5 of Cups. And you can see someone kind of looking down at the cups. There's 3 that have spilled and 2 that haven't. Okay? Cups deal with emotions, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. The second card we have for you here is the Empress card from my Neo Tarot deck. And the Empress is one of the first cards in the Major Arcana, and she represents abundance, nurturing energy, mother archetype. And we'll get back to her in just a moment. And my last card for you here is from my moon, the moon deck that I have, and it's an oracle deck, so it's a very straightforward message. And this message for you is conscious eating nourishes me. And we'll figure this all out together. Five of Cups for me is a card of regret, and it's also a card of hanging on to the what ifs way more than what's actually happened. There's a wistfulness to it. It's kind of a sad card in that instead of focusing on the 2 cups that are still upright, he's focusing on the 3 cups that have spilled over. And yes, he may have lost more, but there's still something there for him to hold on to. And so, self-care. What are you holding on to that is emotionally draining and is keeping you from what you should truly be focused on, which is the positive, the good things in your life, okay? The Empress card, abundance, pregnancy of ideas, pregnancy in the physical, literal sense. But for me, this card is mother archetype, nurturing, kind, soothing. Why is this card in the second card, the middle of your reading? This is the energy that you need to be treating yourself with. Kindness. In this reading, we also have conscious eating nourishes me. So instead of focusing on the calories you've eaten or the donut that you shouldn't have had, think about the salad that you made and ate, and the workout that you committed yourself to and still did. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't want you, it's particularly traumatic for me when I start kind of really thinking about my weight. No one really likes to think about their weight. And so I don't really weigh myself anymore. I just go off of how I'm feeling and how I look. In a very literal sense, if I've been eating like crap, I generally feel a little bloated. I feel lethargic. I feel fatigued. And so then I backtrack and I cut down. And I'm an indulgent person. That's my personality. If I go hard. It takes me kind of eating way too much and feeling way overwhelmed with how gluttonous I'm feeling for me to be like, whoa. Take a break, right? In this case, I think you're focusing so much on what you haven't done or what you failed at that you're not realizing the milestones that you've created and the positive uphill climb that you've made. Self-care is an uphill battle. It's constant work. And self-care for me is treating yourself with respect, being kind, eating things that do nourish you. You know what I mean? And so we have the Empress card, which is just saying, hey, that's the energy you need to, that's the mindset you need to come at this self-care ritual, this regimen that you've created. That's the energy you need to come with it. Like, hey, I did my best. What does everybody, there's that show, The Goldbergs on ABC. It's a fun show. The mom, she sees everything through mom glasses. They talk about like her mom glasses. It's just like, oh, my son's so great. My daughter's so wonderful. Boop, boop, boop. And it's like, when you actually hear them sing without the mom glasses, it's like, that was off key. That was a bit pitchy, dog. You know what I mean? So, but that's okay. We all need that person who loves us and cherishes us and supports us and thinks that we're the greatest thing on earth, no matter what. When we're constantly in that mindset, in that emotional place of, I could have done better. So instead of coming from the place of, I could have done better, I need you to put your mom glasses on, look in the mirror, and tell yourself, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're great, you're doing your best, and give yourself some credit. Continue eating consciously. Nourish yourself in a way that is with intention. And that doesn't necessarily mean just eating food. Consciously nourishing yourself is avoiding that show that makes you feel depressed. It's turning off that song, that makes you think of that person that maybe you possibly don't want to think about, but you kind of have that kind of self-torture thing where you put on the song and you want to cry to it, but you don't because there's people in the car anyway, you gotta stop those habits. Consciously eat, consciously absorb. Don't just passively take part in your life or in how you're treating yourself. Does that make sense? All right. Thank you very much, Amazonite people. Let's move on to our final deck, the Dolomite pile. All right, our last pile here is the Dolomite pile, and 3 cards here. My first card for you is from my Waite-Smith Centennial deck, and this is the 8 of Pentacles. The next card is from my Neo Tarot deck, and it is the Temperance card. And the final card is from the Moon deck, which is an Oracle card deck, and it's kind of a, it gives you a very straightforward kind of message, which is when I let others shine, I shine too, which is like, did Lizzo make this card? Possibly, who knows? All right, so 8 of Pentacles. Pentacles deal with the element of earth. We've been here before, remember? And 8 of Pentacles is about hard work. It's the grind. It's being committed to creating what you want to create and working really, really hard for it. And it's not necessarily a milestone card. It's hard work. It's not retirement. It is all of that space before you reaped what you've sown. Then we have the Temperance card. Temperance is all about balance. It's all about creating a level playing field, not feeling too exhausted, not feeling too energetic, not feeling overworked, not feeling like you're bored. It's a balance. And the last card, when I let others shine, I shine too. So, all work and no play is not the kind of self-care I want you to be making right now. I think you need to take a step back from the work, give yourself a break, a restful period, find balance, have a little fun, give yourself credit when it's due, and not just have this hustle mindset, which is really funny because this was the pile I picked for myself and it's resonating. I have been just busting my butt this year. Since January 1, 2019, I've been busting my butt. And it's manifesting in physical things. Like I have had shoulder pain that keeps recurring, anxiety that has just been super high. And it's because once I get started, it's hard for me to stop. And I hope you can relate. When you're on a roll, you're just hustling and grinding and creating and manifesting, and you see things coming from the hard work. It's so hard to just take a step back. And for me personally, taking a step back is going to probably come when I decide to have a baby with my husband, right? To get personal for a moment. I'm working really, really, really hard right now, and I'm loving this grind, and I'm loving the way my career is shifting and changing. I feel tired so much. I feel overwhelmed pretty much constantly, and it's manifested into physical pain. And so I need to find balance. I need to figure out how I can still do what I love, just like you. You need to stay on your grind, homie. Like, I get it. But also give yourself that rest that you deserve. Take a break. Giving yourself credit and allowing yourself to just take a breather is probably one of the hardest things to do for a Capricorn like myself. And I'm telling you, we got to do it together, you and I. We got to, there is a happy medium between really being on your grind and taking time to heal and rest. I've yet to find that balance, but the message is telling me I need to do so. And that might mean when I let others shine, I shine too, giving some of that responsibility to those around you, allowing others to kind of be in the forefront, in the limelight, so that you can take a break. As a perfectionist and a control freak, it's hard, right? I'm getting this message I'm hard-headed, and it keeps slamming me in the face, and I don't want it to do the same to you. There's a way to work really hard, but still not feel exhausted. And that's where you're looking. That's what you're going to be working for this self-care reading. Allowing others to take up the mantle so that you can relax for a little bit. That's important right now for both of us, for all of us, whoever chose this pile and myself. It's a message that we needed to hear. You're working way too hard and you need to find balance and you need to just delegate. And that's been a theme for a few of the Tarot Tuesday readings that I've been picking. It's like delegate, delegate, delegate. How do I delegate when I own my own business? The Lord told me that. But I'm going to find out because it's necessary. Maybe it's, we'll figure it out, you and I. We will all figure it out together. That is your reading, Dolomite people. Thank you so much. That is it for today's Tarot Tuesday reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you commit to self-care in the way that resonates with you, that real hard work kind of self-care. And I thank you so much for your support and commitment to this channel. If you have any questions regarding the crystals or the decks or anything, please feel free to comment, message me. I'm on Instagram. You know the deal. And thank you so much for joining me today. And always remember to empower your energetic instincts.